Soulful shit, you know what I'm saying? Like, just some social shit for everyone, you know what I'm saying? Like, I made this be myself, so hear me. Woo! I mean, like, we can pull that clown shit away. This some real shit for you. I'm spazzing right now, so listen, let's go. Yeah. It's in their bones, the thoughts and harmony for the love of the money. Then fall victim for the cookie, then turn pussy, it's lonely. You said you hold it down when life get rough, we're here now, so show me. We move them losses to them wins. Heavy pounds, we make it ends meet. Converse of only few who make me feel like I be 10 feet.
Yo, man, good evening to everyone. Good evening. Big up everybody, of course, in the building, man. I hope everyone's blessed, man. I hope everyone is blessed. I hope everyone's had a good start to the weekend, bank holiday weekend, obviously, over here in the UK. For those who are going carnival, obviously carnival just round the corner. Yeah, I mean, so big up anyone who is going. I'll catch you there on one of the days. So make sure if you are going carnival, make sure you pop up and say, yo, man. I'll be there. We're here, Brentford or Liverpool versus Brentford match preview. Obviously, we just had the last game of the day, last Premier League game of the day. Obviously, Arsenal versus Aston Villa. Arsenal getting a comprehensive victory, getting off to a good start this season. Manchester City as well, slapping Ipswich earlier on today. So now it's going to be our turn tomorrow, man. Of course, we want to keep up the pace. Obviously, I know Brighton are up there as well. So we want to just be keeping up the pace with everyone. We don't want to I know it's only game 2, and of course you're not looking too far ahead, but you just want to keep there. Do you know what I mean? One game can derail so many different things, man. So we want to make sure we keep up to date. But I'll go through obviously everyone in the chat, and then yeah, man, we'll get into it. But love to Harris for joining me this evening, bro. How are you, man?
Yeah, I'm good. I was just watching Barcelona play, and I've just watched the Arsenal game as well. So just ready to get into this stream and talk about the Brentford preview.
No, of course. And guys, I'm gonna put my let me do it right now. I'm gonna put my Fantasy Premier League. As I said, guys, click the link. It's there now in the chat. Click the link to join. There will be a prize at the end of the season. Yes, I know prizes and all of that, but yeah, there will be a prize for the winner, which will be a football shirt of your choosing. Will be sent out to you. So make sure you just hit that link, man. It's free. Yeah, I mean, it's no harm, no foul. Big up Ty, Arsenal true Saka Gunner. Yes, I do remember you, my bro. I hope you're doing well. Bit annoyed that you won today, but hey, it is what it is, man. It is what it is. Big up Christian in the building. Can't have Brentford winning, especially after strengthening them. Van der Berg, last minute header, Carvalho dagger. Yeah, ain't trying to hear that. Yeah, we'll talk about that as well. Big up Scraps, my bro, in the building. And big up Ali as well. Hollywood Rock. Why was Quasi allowed to stream on Beijing's channel? Court security needs to pattern up. Hey, that's, you know what I mean? Beijing and them lot were, yeah, I mean, they were trying to, you know what I mean, trying to find out answers. They were trying to find out answers, obviously, from Quasi and that, like from Enz's court case. You feel me? But listen, we said it already. Quasi is not allowed to post any transfer business. This is what the judge said, by the way, not me. This is what the judge said. He ain't allowed to post any transfer business for the rest of this window and the entirety of January. So if you guys see him posting any transfer business that's not come from an official page, i.e. David Ornstein saying Liverpool have done this and that, or Fabrizio Romano has done, said Liverpool's done this and that, yo, you can get onto it, man. And you know what I mean? We're going to be pulling up them receipts. Yeah, I'm trying to say, pull up them receipts, man. But obviously, the game tomorrow, man, with the last game of the day, I believe. I think there's a game, Bournemouth, I think, versus Newcastle just before us. Obviously, looking ahead to it, man. Harris, man, chat to me, man. How are you? What's your kind of initial thoughts, obviously, heading into this game before we kind of dive into, predicted lineups and score lines and that?
I've been keeping an eye on the news, really, with Brentford. Like, I'm hearing Tony could miss the game. Apparently, he could be in the squad. He might not, because he might be going to Saudi, which I think is a bit mad, in my opinion. Because I think he's a good player, and I feel like he can play for a top team. Like let's say Arsenal. He can play for Spurs. He can play for any team in the world, in my opinion. And just to go to Saudi like that, I just think it's a big opportunity for him. He does seem like the sort to money grab, but
Mm.
he will be a big miss if he misses the game, because I'm not trying to see Tony just bad up Van Dijk and Konate or Kwanzaa. It would be nice to see if he does have a good game, because Virgil has dealt with him before,
Mm.
but he hasn't dealt with him on every occasion.
Word. No, man, I agree, man. I agree. I think yeah, that one's gonna be. I don't know. I don't think he's gonna play. I feel like Frank. Actually, listen, he might change his mind tomorrow and say, "Yeah, you know what, fuck it, man, you're playing." But I feel like Frank would probably say, "Nah, man." Totally, like Thomas Frank don't really seem like the type of manager to me that would sit there and, you know what I mean. He seems like, nah, bro. Like, if you know what I mean, if your head's not really in it, then you don't have to play. And to be honest with you, they've got Vissa. I'll show you guys here. Obviously, this is
That's who I'm more scared of,
yeah,
though. I'm more scared of
Vissa.
the Wideman.
Yeah. This is what I'm saying. You got Vissa, you got Mbuemo. Those two are obviously going to be massively dangerous, you know, for Brighton, for Brentford anyway. So they're going to be two players that I do believe that Liverpool are going to still need to, you know, just watch out for, regardless, you know, in the game. But again, we don't even know necessarily who's going to be playing in terms of at the back. Obviously, we know Jarrell Kwanzaa. From what I've heard, I'm not 100% sure if it's changed now or whatever. I haven't really looked in the last couple of hours, but from what I saw yesterday, it looks like he's probably not going to start this game. So that really only leaves Konate and Joe Gomez, I believe, potentially.
Yeah.
Again, if he's obviously put back into the squad, which I think now he'll be in the squad anyway for this game. When you're looking at just that position, you know, in itself, and obviously we saw what happened last week against Ipswich. Jarrell Kwanzaa obviously coming off. There was this big fanfare and stuff like that. How did you kind of see that? I don't know if I spoke to you about it, but how did you see all of that kind of situation?
I liked it because I feel like someone like Klopp would have left him on. I don't think he would look at the situation and say, okay, he has to come off because he's losing how many duels in the air against the lap. I think Klopp would look at it and say, oh, I think he'll probably grow into it in the second half. But I think it was the right sub. It was the right sub. Konate came on, did better against the lap. The lap didn't really get a sniff against him. So I don't think too much about it because we won the game. So I don't really care about it, to be honest. And if Kwanzaa has the problem with it, he's got to deal with it, because he said my condolences to Matip. So
Yeah, of
he's
course.
he's got to fight for his place in the team.
It's mad. It's funny how the things come back full cycle. You know what I mean? Sometimes, like with these kind of things. But listen, I'm in agreement with Harris, man. I think obviously, listen, look, managers live and die by these kind of decisions at the end of the day. Do you get it? So if it had gone terribly wrong in terms of Liverpool lost the game and I don't know, Konate makes 3 mistakes, then of course, yeah, I mean, it's like you stop, because obviously, look, for me personally, I don't think Kwanzaa was having like a bad game. Like I didn't look at
He
Kwanzaa
wasn't
and
he wasn't
think,
awful. He
yeah,
wasn't
yeah,
awful.
yeah.
Yeah, it's just
And
like it's the smallest of things that you would think of. Like I'm pretty sure so many fans, looked at the quote and thought that doesn't really matter, but really and truly it does, because once you're losing aerial duels to the lap, there's someone that's going to come onto that ball. So, for example, if you were to go along to the striker and he heads it down to, let's say, Hutchinson, and they're able to and then they're able to drive with the ball at you, it's a problem. But if you're someone like Konate who's able to win those aerial duels, the situations won't happen like that. And plus, in the wide areas, Konate is much better. I do think Kwanzaa is a lot better on the ball. I feel more comfortable with him on the ball than Konate. But Kwanzaa wasn't that horrible. No, he wasn't
no,
awful.
no, facts, man. And I think again, it's always one of them ones where I don't know if people just took the quote mad or like what he said after the game, because even when he mentioned, you see, when he mentioned, obviously, I don't know. Again, I didn't really watch the big saying condolences to Kwanzaa. I didn't watch the full press conference thing. I'll be honest, I didn't really care about what he was saying. And I don't really care about press conferences anyway, unless it's something madly important that we need to all know about. But from what I gathered after the match, I don't feel like even when he spoke at the end of the game in regards to the whole jewel thing about, oh yeah, lost this amount of jewels and I don't even feel like he even specifically said Kwanzaa. I feel like he was just talking about how we were losing jewels. Obviously, Kwanzaa at the back there is obviously losing jewels as well. But I feel like he had 4 jewels and he won 2 and lost 2. So he won half of his jewels, however you want to say it, lost half, won half of, of his jewels. So I'm sitting there thinking there was other players, by the way, on the team who lost jewels. Like I hope everyone everyone saw that. Do you get what I'm trying to say? It wasn't just him.
Robertson.
Yeah, they were all doing Van Dijk, like they were all losing. You know what I mean? Like I said, I said this last week when we were talking about the game. Like Liverpool in the first half, they were being overrun, they were being outworked, they were being outplayed at times, by Ipswich. And obviously, I know we saw Ipswich today, obviously scoring that goal against Manchester City. But you can see Ipswich are, obviously we didn't know, but to me, Ipswich seemed like a team who can upset the apple cart a little bit in terms of just their style of play. It could really be uncomfortable, and it felt like it was really uncomfortable. And Slot, again, from what I saw of the clip I saw today, he also mentioned, I think it's the interview that's coming out tomorrow before the game. He also mentioned about us starting better against Brentford than we did against Ipswich, because that first half, and the thing is, he's said this now a fair few amount of times in anything I've heard him speak of, and between last week and this week, when he's spoken about the game, he always talks about that first half basically being poor. And this is what I was, saying last week in terms of, for me, it was everyone was shit. Like I think there wasn't too many shining lights, within that kind of first half last week. And against a team like Brentford, in my opinion, they have a lot more experience. I feel like they've got a bit more danger men in their team.
Yes.
But obviously in Mbeumo and in Vissa. And then I'm saying in Mbeumo and in Vissa, there could be someone else, do you know what I mean, within this kind of setup, who then decides Norgard or Jan Hell or Matthias Jensen, whoever.
Yeah, midfielders.
You know what I'm saying? You just never know. You never know. So I don't like, obviously you're going to pick the danger men, but it can happen from anywhere. And Brentford are that type of team, especially a team who like to play through set pieces, a big weapon for them, that might miss out those front 2 players. That we might be talking about, I don't know, Pinnock. We might be talking about someone else in their backline who's going to cause us major problems, from set pieces. So hey, bro, there's a lot of players they've got in their team. I'm not saying Brentford are unbeatable. Of course, we can go there, slap them 4-0, and it could be one of those kind of games. But they do have their strengths, within their team. And I think that will be, I think Ends, big up Ends, because I think he said this. I was listening to, I think it was the preview he did, and Ends mentioned about, like, against like a team like Brentford, or anytime we kind of played them, it always starts off like this, like in terms of uncomfortable, we're not playing well, blah blah blah, and then we obviously score, and then we go on to really, to have a really good game. It's at home, so I do expect something like that again tomorrow. But of course, we shall wait and we shall see, man. But I wanted to quickly just take a look at this. Obviously, you guys were talking about it in the chat. This is obviously Slot talking about Carvalho and Sepp Vandenberg. This is just a little bit of the quote that he said. A good deal for us, Brentford and the players. Everyone is happy unless they do too well on Sunday. Looking at obviously the situation now, we've not signed anybody. And at this moment in time, it doesn't even look like we're necessarily going to sign anybody to come into the team, at this current state. When you look at it, and the fact that we're obviously letting players like Carvalho, like Sepp Vandenberg, potentially a Joe Gomez as well leave, are you happy with how things have obviously gone this summer, or do you think, this is going to really come back to bite us, bite us in the backside?
I wasn't too sure about the Carvalho deal,
Mm-hmm.
because I think he's a good squad player. He's someone that you can have in around the team that can come in and out. And it's just really down to the player. Like, a lot of people say, "Oh, don't sell him because he can be a good squad player," but it's actually down to him if he wants to stay, because he stated many times that he wants to play in this position. He wants to play football, basically. So as much as he'd be a good squad player, it's actually just down to him. And it's the same thing with Sepp Vandenberg, because I think he did well in pre-season. I was actually quite shocked because I didn't think he would. He'd be a what's the word? he'd be a standout, and I think he was a standout in how he played. So if you're gonna sell them, or at least set Van den Berg, because I think we need to centre back, replace him,
Okay.
which we haven't done. Not saying that he's someone that we need to replace like for like, because he was never that kind of person in our team to replace. But we do need another centre back
Nah,
because
completely.
now Kwanzaa's picked up a knock,
Yeah.
and I'm getting flashbacks. I'm getting PTSD now because I'm not trying to go into the season seeing let's say Endo as a makeshift centre back.
Yeah. Nah, Liverpool fans would we'd end up we'd lose our mind, bro. Like, and I think. Sorry, actually not. Sorry, go on. Continue. Sorry.
Oh no, I was done.
Nah, Liverpool fans will lose their mind, and rightly so, man. Rightly so. Like, listen, I said this the other day on Savage's show that he did the other day, and I was saying, bro, right now I'm looking at the market, and it's not even to say that there's not necessarily players that who couldn't necessarily improve us like so, but the pool of talent available anyway. And remember, when I say available, I'm talking within Liverpool's remit. I'm not talking just availability in general, because obviously there's a bag of players like that. But I'm just talking about in general, in terms of the price point and all that kind of stuff for Liverpool. I'm looking around and I'm just like, listen, guys, I hear it. You know what I mean? Everyone, like, we want a centre back, for example. And I looked at the and I did a video earlier on talking obviously about Virgil van Dijk, right? And obviously I was talking about the centre back. So there was obviously the Bastonis, Antonio Silvas, Inacios, Hincapié, if you want to class him as left back / centre back, if you want, Lukeba from RB Leipzig. And I was like, yeah, like all it, like, listen, if you bring me any one of those guys, I'll be, I mean, I'm good. I'm super good with any of those kind of players. It's not a problem. But realistically, how many of those are even attainable for Liverpool? Like, in terms of for Liverpool, I just don't really see it, because I don't see Liverpool saying, I'm going to pay whatever it takes to get Bastoni, as an example, knowing that potentially, I mean, unless you're going to, shift Virgil obviously to the right-hand side, he's obviously left-sided centre-back, even though he has played right-sided for Italy during the Euros. I'm just kind of looking at thinking, I don't know if they're ready to make that kind of outlay at this moment in time. Obviously, we've got the free contracts and stuff like that. So when we are looking at, like again, this is just me and just running away with my thoughts. When we're looking at this whole situation, I'm just like, yeah, in Liverpool's remit, I don't see that. Like Bastoni, that sounds like a pipe dream. So cool, let's just dash that one. Antonio Silva, again, I feel like Benfica are only going to sell at the release clause. So that's like however many millions, 100 or whatever it is. So again, another one out of the window. Now you're looking at maybe Lukeba, maybe someone like him, potentially you can get, for a relatively good fee. Inacio is obviously another one, but I know there's a few question marks in regards to him. And then Hincapié is another one. So I'm just looking at it and I'm thinking, yeah, did they move the needle? Did they really move the needle? Or is it just one of those where we're just tired of the players that we are seeing, which is fair, by the way, because I'm tired too. But are we just tired of the players that we're seeing at this current moment in time, that when we look at some of these other players, it's like, let's just go and get this guy? Because the reality is, I look at these other teams, like, for example, we just saw Arsenal play, right? And I look at the fact that they were able to bring on someone like a Calafiori, obviously off the bench. They've obviously signed Jurriën Timber, but he was obviously out injured last season. They've also now got in Mikel Merino as well. And I look at all of that and I'm just like, that improves them though. Because you can see, like, in terms of, especially in that defense, the defense was already good, but you've gone in and just added depth to that defense. Do you get what I'm trying to say? And obviously, however Mikel Arteta decides to kind of, rotate that up, we'll see how that goes throughout the season, right? Cool, that's that position. Obviously, you felt he needed someone in that kind of Xhaka role. So now you've gone in and gotten, Mikel Merino. So fair enough. Again, you've gone to improve your side because you feel that having a player like that, and again, all of this is all hypotheticals because you never know what's actually going to happen in the season. But you've gone and done that. So I'm trying to look now, okay, with Liverpool, it almost seems like it's so tricky because the way that we kind of treat our players, because of obviously the old regime, and maybe it might change under Slot. Under the old regime, if you was a starter, you was a starter. We ain't doing this rotating nonsense. And to be honest, I don't even agree with the fact that Klopp was rotating like he was last season out of choice. I felt like he did that out of necessity, i.e., so many injuries. He was tired of getting these injuries, so he just almost felt like he just needed to rotate to just kind of make sure that
Balance
he's
it
got,
out.
balance it out. Do you get what I'm trying to say? Because his track record prior to last season has been shit. Do you get what I'm trying to say? Like, let's not act like he was never doing the rotation thing. Last season, we had mad injuries, and he decided to bring all of these youth players, through. And look what happens. These youth guys are out of the door because they're not really that good. But
I don't
yeah,
think he does that if he has a fully fit squad. Like if
no
we know,
way.
when the lineup came out for the Chelsea game in the final, I looked at the bench and I was like, we need to kill the game or something. But obviously they did get the job done. But when I was looking at that bench, I was thinking, yeah, we definitely need to pump Chelsea because I had no confidence in that bench. But they did do their job when they came on. But I wanted to quickly say, when you were listing out centre backs, I know you like Levi Colwill. We both do, actually. But if you look at his situation at Chelsea, do you think Chelsea would sell to us?
Yeah, I don't think Chelsea can have him. Yeah, there's not. It's not going to be. The problem isn't for them to sell to us. It's just how much they would have sold to us last season as well. It's just we weren't trying to put up the price that they were trying to put up. But I
do you think
Chelsea would sell.
I don't think he's been like an outstanding player for them already this season and in pre-season. So do you think they could look at his most recent performances and think, oh yeah, we could sell him for like, let's say 50, 60? Because I think he is a good player, like we saw at Brighton. But I just feel like there's some stuff in this game that could be worked on. I feel like he could be a bit more aggressive. Like let's say I've seen many times where someone's driving at him and he's a bit passive, like not like Virgil, because Virgil is aggressive in his own way, and I just don't see that with Colwill. So like if he was to play him as a left back, would he what's the word? Would he be more aggressive?
But I think yes, just because naturally I think he is anyway. Again, it's a different style of football.
1v1 duels.
Yeah, I think he's naturally like that. Like from what I saw at Brighton, I don't really the Chelsea
at Brighton, yeah.
But this is what I'm saying is that like if I've seen it, that means that he can do it.
Yeah.
If I hadn't seen it, that means I know. Then it's like right. Well, now I'm literally second guessing because now I'm like I don't really know, kind of thing. But yeah, like and big up Scraps. You kind of you kind of summed it up here. I still take him, but he looks. Yeah, I totally agree, bro. Like
yeah.
But again, Chelsea and Manchester United, those are two clubs I don't look at for trying to really judge a player. So when we talk about like even the Enzos, the Caicedos, and all these guys, and this is just my personal opinion. I'm not saying do it or don't do it, but for me, I don't look at Chelsea and think to myself, I'm going to rate or not rate a player from being at this football club just because it's a complete shit show over there, as in everything is so up in the air. They are doing poorly. Let's not forget as well in terms of where they've been finishing in the league the last couple of seasons. They've not really, they're not the club that they were, a decade ago, where they were absolute powerhouses. They're kind of small fry, if I'm being totally honest with you. So I'm not really taking them that seriously off the pitch, and on the pitch, I'm not really taking them seriously. So when I'm seeing players like Colwill kind of thing, like let's be real, we've seen Caicedo, Enzo, and Kunku, all of these guys go to a thing and they don't look great. But let's not act like we all wouldn't have sat here and said, yeah, I'll take Caicedo, I'll take Enzo. Labby's been good since he obviously joined.
Yeah, because all Liverpool fans before, they wanted Caicedo. That was someone who everyone wanted. Enzo Fernandez, I don't think we were linked with him like that. Like to the
I think we were. We looked at him before he went to Benfica.
I think we definitely looked at him, but I think we looked at the price and said no.
No. Before he went to Benfica, so not the price of when he was at Ben. Yeah. When I don't know what club that was, and someone would have to tell me in the chat.
Is that River Plate or something?
That was? Yes, I think it might have been someone like them. But yeah, we were looking at him then, but it was always about can he come to Europe? Can he? Basically, we weren't really on the South American thing that effectively for whatever reason I don't know. So we just passed up on that kind of opportunity, and it happens, man. But Colwill specifically, Yeah, like for me, I'll be bringing in someone like a Cole. Again, price point. Let's see what Chelsea are trying to say. But when we're looking here, when I'm thinking about it, like with the Carvalho and Seth Vandenberg, listen, if they score, good for them. Do you get what I'm trying to say? Like, there's not much I can realistically say. There's not much I can realistically do. That's on Liverpool at the end of the day. You know what I mean? We just got to take that L. But I'll be honest. Even if we didn't sign anybody, I still don't really see these guys playing. Do you get what I'm trying to say? Like, I don't really see them really getting, maybe more so Sepp than Carvalho, because I feel like Carvalho, you've got too many players in your way before you can even play. Like,
Yeah,
if we'd even just looked at the bench
they have
last
Sharda, they
week.
have Wissa, they
No,
have
no, no. Forget Brentford. I'm not even talking about Brentford. I'm talking about Liverpool.
oh
If you looked
oh
at
Liverpool,
Liverpool's
yeah, yeah,
bench,
yeah.
where was he going to play? Like, and I'm talking Nunes is on the bench, Gap, like these guys. So that's left wing already, and Diaz is obviously playing. That's left wing already sorted. Cool. So he ain't playing there. Now let's talk about the attacking midfield. I guess it just really depends in terms of how we see an attacking midfield because of the midfield that we played the other day with Gravenberch, McAllister, and Dominic Szoboszlai. It all depends on how he sees that. But then again, you still then got Harvey Elliott who's sitting on the bench as well. Is he going to get in front of him? I feel like
Szoboszlai.
that's kind of locked up too. Do you get what I'm trying to say? So
Mm.
let's just say at best in any of the positions, he can touch the bench. And I'm saying that for only really attacking midfield. So if he's touching the bench for attacking midfield, that's realistically going to happen throughout the season. So he's got to go. Sepp, I'm like, maybe because of Gomez potentially wanting to leave, Kanate being made out of Weetabix, maybe he gets some game time. Maybe like it could be thrown in there. That again, if he feels like what Arne Slot did in the first game with Jarrell Kwanzaa in saying, you know what, Kwanzaa, you know what I mean, you need to come off half time because you ain't really patterning up, blah blah blah. Maybe a Vandenberg will come on in those type of situations. Then fairs. Maybe he might have gotten a bit more game time, and then you take it from there kind of thing. But for me, I'm super calm with those two. Bobby Clark, I think Harvey Blair's got like all of these guys who are gone. This is what I was saying last season. I was like, bro, the team, the young players, big up to them, by the way. I don't want to crash on young players like that, but they're not that good. They were never that good. But like moments and stuff like that, like obviously situations, ultimately they can favor you in certain parts. But you see when things become real, it's like Stefan Bajcetic. You see when things become real, and obviously he's been injured and stuff like that. But let's keep it a buck. Bajcetic can't. It's nowhere near the first team. Even if he was fit, I still wouldn't put him in the first team. Do you get what I'm saying? But he was walking into the first team before his injury. He was walking in there because we
Do you
had
think that's because
dead
everyone
players.
was dead? Yeah.
Yes, 1,000,000%. I'm not going to take away from his talent. I'm not saying he's not a talented individual, but I feel like we just go too far the other side sometimes. Like I'm like, bro, we've just seen this season, like this summer, should I say? We've seen the manager and stuff like that. But we've seen him dash all of these guys out, and I'm hearing people telling me Bobby Clark last season and all of these other guys. I'm like, bro, like we're not missing any of these players, like we will never miss these guys once they bounce. So why is there such a big, would I say, fanfare and all of this stuff when these guys are keeping it moving? I'm like, bro, like we need to just chill out. Like I feel like the squad in itself, obviously, yes, we would like to add, we all want like a DM and stuff like that, but these kind of players, I love the fact that we're getting rid of these kind of players because we don't do enough of this type of stuff. Get rid of Sepp, get rid of Carvalho, get rid of the Bobby Clarks and stuff like that. Let's start doing more of these kind of things because instead of wasting time with these players, then we're all that happens is, like typical Liverpool fans, we end up just going through a cycle of then just being mad at a later time in the season when we're like, oh, why have we still got Nat Phillips here? Why have we still got Reece Williams still on our books? These are the type of players that we're talking about here. Literally, all of them are of the same kind of ilk. So just get rid of them. That way, it can make a bit more room for some of these other guys to be able to even progress. Bajcetic, go out on loan, bro, because you ain't close to that first team like that. So guess what? We needed to get some game time because you ain't played enough football. Get out of here. Cool. Now we're done. We can move forward. I just feel like we try to, it's just all the time, bro. I hate this every single season. And that's why when people were mad at these two leaving, I was like, bro, they were never playing, bro. Big clubs, get rid of these type of guys. Let's start moving like that. Let's start behaving like that. Because if we don't start behaving like that, I promise you what's going to happen, because it happens every single time. Everyone does it. Fans, content creators, everyone. Same thing. We start getting mad and start asking the same questions every single summer. And I'm just like, we said this last summer. We said this the summer before that, and before that, and before that. So if we're going to continuously keep saying it, bro, it's just insanity. You know what I mean? At this kind of point. So that's why I was confused at this whole Carvalho and Sepp thing. I was like, I don't really get why people are so mad about this. Like, oh, them man are like fringe players. Like, I don't care about them. Do you know what I mean? And you shouldn't care about them either. We should be focusing on the Gravenberchs, the Harvey Elliots, the Curtis Jones, and these kind of players who are basically in and around the squad and are basically first team players that are gonna, help us along, in whatever we do this season. Let's focus on them. Forget those other guys. They're not important. Let's focus on this kind of stuff. So yeah, man, that's kind of just like my 2 cents. But I wanted to go quickly into, in fact, no, I was going to go into the predicted lineup for the game, but it was just quickly going back to the whole Konate and Kwanzaa thing. I put this up there whilst you was talking about it, and obviously this is Kwanzaa's positioning in the first half, and you can see obviously he's number 78 for anyone who doesn't know. He's obviously dropped the furthest back, and then this is Konate's positioning in the second half. Obviously, we can see big difference between the two is Kwanzaa keeps dropping deep. Do you know what I mean? And of course, once he does that and loses a duel, it gives them, the opportunity to be a lot more closer to our goal. And then, of course, you got Konate, as Harris said perfectly there. He's good at defending in those kind of wide areas. He's used to it as well, obviously, with last season and Trent and stuff like that. But you can see it's a bit more level. Do you think that that's something that we're going to need to be making sure that we've got on lockdown, whoever we pick to start, whoever is actually going to start tomorrow? Because against Brentford, the threats of obviously Mbeumo and Vissa.
What do you mean on lockdown? Like the yeah.
So the defense in itself, in terms of, i.e., okay, let's put it like this: would you prefer to see this, or would you prefer to see this?
The other one.
So you prefer to see this?
Based on Kwanzaa's positioning, so if we lose the ball, we have someone that has a few yards ahead.
Okay.
So I'd rather Konate be in that position than be in the other position.
Why'd you say that? I find, yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, why'd you say that? This is obviously Konate, by the way.
Because from my point of view, if everybody else is high up the pitch, yeah, let's say, and then you've got Kwanzaa or Konate who's just a bit deeper, they can kind of not sweep up, but they're a body, like they're a presence there.
Mm-hmm.
So like, let's say if Wissa's won the ball back, Virgil's high, and then like Konate's last man, I trust Konate to deal with it.
So you feel like Konate to deal with him. Okay, cool. Were Liverpool more solid this one, or were they more solid when they went to this?
They were more solid when they went to that.
So wouldn't you prefer to be more solid than having?
Wait. Are you talking about as average position?
Yeah. So okay. So cool.
Oh,
so
yeah.
This is Konate.
Yeah.
So yeah. So this was Konate's average position when he came on. So that was obviously the second half. This is Kwanzaa's average position when he was in and when he was playing, obviously in the first half. That's what I was saying. Obviously, you can see, like I was saying before, Kwanzaa obviously dropping that deep. If he loses the duel, he's the deepest man. So they're closer to goal. This is just their average position. Like, this is just the average. Like, it's not in or out. It's just where they were at the point, obviously, in the first half. And then obviously in the second half, this was these two, Konate and Van Dijk. This was their average position in that second half. And obviously, from what we've said and how everyone's spoken about the game, the second half was a lot better, and we gained a lot more control in that half when Konate was on, as opposed, obviously other elements, but just looking at these two specifically, as opposed to when Kwanzaa was there. Because from what people were telling me, and I didn't really agree, but fairs, but from what people were saying was that because Kwanzaa is obviously losing a couple of duels, and it wasn't a lot, but because he's losing a couple of duels and he's not really being strong in certain moments. I do remember the lap being able to get in behind, and if it wasn't for the fact that he had a dead tame shot, probably should score there, if I'm being honest, it being in that kind of position. But he was almost bullying Kwanzaa at times, not all the time, but at times in that moment. But on top of that, you're the last man. So obviously we can all know, like, they're all going to get back. So Van Dijk's going to start dropping in and all of that. They're obviously going to be all running back towards their goal, but you are the last one there. So we kind of need you to, pattern up in that kind of situation. But obviously when these two are here together, they're not exactly level, but they're level enough. When these two are level enough, I felt like we had a tad bit more control. I'm not going to say it was massive, but it was enough to obviously gain, gain the control, within the game kind of thing. But yeah, that's what I was wondering. Like, which one do you prefer? You might, like I said, you might still prefer the other one, by the way. Like, that's up to you. I thought
it was the one in possession.
Oh no, this is
just average positioning.
Yeah.
Because because my point was, if you go back to the first one, it shows Kwanzaa's last man, and if we lose the ball in that area, let's say we've got someone to sweep up, but it's just average positioning. If it's average positioning, it's definitely the second one, because let's say if Ipswich go long, we can just sweep that up, and then we can just restart.
No, I feel you, bro. I feel yeah. Listen, man, it's just I guess potentially this could have been different. Although I don't always see like if it's Konate and Van Dijk, I don't really think I see. Big up Jerry, by the way. I don't think I see Konate being the deeper one of the two. If I'm being honest, I feel like I wouldn't necessarily see that. So yeah, but I guess that it might just change because of personnel.
Virgil, because if you watch Virgil for the Netherlands, he was the deeper one when we played a 4 at the back, at times a 3, because Dumfries used to go forward. He would be the one that would kind of be like an anchor and just be that extra option to receive the ball.
Yeah.
And that's how, to be honest, and that's how I like to play as well. So if I'm in a back 2, I will drop a few yards just to be an extra option. So, like, let's say if we're getting pressed, I'm there to be the option to go back to the keeper. Then everyone drops back. Then we restart. Yeah.
No. Hey, listen, man. Hey, listen, you're a defender. You and Jerry, you guys know more than me when it comes to the defensive side of things. So, if you guys say that, then I'm gonna take you lot's word for it. To be honest with you, but there is one thing that before we move on to our like predicted lineup and stuff like that, well, who we would want to play. I think I said this to you actually, Harris, or you mentioned something to me anyway about Virgil van Dijk, right? And you asked me, can't remember the exact question.
Was it on messages?
Yeah.
And how he leads the defense.
Yes, yeah. Go on. I don't know if you remember the question.
Should I read out the message?
Yeah, read it. Yeah, read it.
Let me find it.
It was just whilst he's finding it. Yeah, it was just in regards to Virgil van Dijk. It's just a small little gripe I have, and this isn't a new gripe, by the way. I think you guys would have heard me talk about Virgil van Dijk.
You've had your opinion on it for a while.
Yeah. So I don't think this is just yesterday, like.
So I was watching his match reaction for the Ipswich game, and I had said, why don't you like how Virgil marshals defenses? He said, no. You said it's not your personal preference in terms of what you like. How would you like him to lead the defense?
Read out. Yeah.
What you said.
Know what I said. Yeah. Read out.
I think at times with the back line, the problem is when you play the offside, as much as we do, everyone needs to be on the same wavelength. And even though we caught them, it's never a line. He's always further forward or the last one. And it seems nobody is managing it. So everyone has to kind of play it by ear, which can be dangerous because sometimes it does work. Then we get caught at the back with massive spaces between centre-back and full-back. All these two centre-backs are so far away from each other. You know what? You know when you say centre-backs are too far away from each other, that brings me back to the Atalanta game.
Yeah.
When there was just total confusion between Virgil and Konate and no one was on the same wavelength.
So
it's like...
Let me see if
go on.
Sorry, continue. I'm going to get a graphic up.
There you go. Yeah, so like from when I played in defence, of course, everyone needs to be on the same wavelength because it's like if you're telling the next man one thing, so like let's say if you're the leader, you have to be very demanding of what you want from your other centre back because once you get something wrong, you could concede a goal, and especially in competitive football, it can really cost you. So like when we're seeing Virgil and Konate just get confused at times, So like you can see Virgil dropping off, and it happened in the Arsenal game actually where we lost 3-1. Virgil had stepped up, and Konate was much deeper, and it's like um where's all the communication? Obviously, we don't know what Virgil's saying because he could be saying Ibby drop, but Ibby's just in La La Land. Yeah, we don't know.
That's what you.
But but yeah, that and the thing is that cost us as well. That cost us a goal. That was the first goal we conceded. So, like I said, with being on the same page with each other, it's always key to be on the same wavelength because it can cost you, which it did against Arsenal.
Yeah, like listen, man. Look, like I said, primarily I'm not a centre back, so I've tried to just look for. I played there a good few times, but one is not a position that I thoroughly enjoy. I think it's kind of boring, and it's too much work, like in terms of tackling and all that. I really like that, and yeah, I just don't have that much experience. So I'm only speaking from a place of if
What
I
you've
was an
seen.
attacker, yeah, what I've seen, but also I always think of it because I played there enough to understand the role, not enough to say, yes, I'm good at it, just more like I understand the role in terms of what's needed to play there. I just can't do it that well in that kind of respect. But when I look at it, I'm always like, I look at it from an attacker's eyes because I'm just like, okay, cool. If you keep doing whatever it is that you're doing, i.e., if he keeps pushing up this time, all it takes is for a somewhat, and he don't even have to be a good striker, just needs to be somewhat intelligent enough, like, and they don't have to even be of the highest intelligence or the highest football IQ to just really understand there's a gap there. I'll just run into that. And this is what I'm saying with Liverpool. I always feel like and again, Virgil himself is a top centre back. Like he himself, I feel sorry for him because he ain't been lucky like a Bonucci and Chiellini's where they've always played with a Don Dada. He's kind of played with like, it's just been wishy-washy throughout his whole time here. Do you know what I'm trying to say? So
Yeah,
unfairly for him, obviously, because everyone's been injured and stuff like that and out of form and stuff, right? But he's not been able to have like that real centre-back partnership where he's been able to like have this for years and years. So when I'm looking, so he's had the left back. Yeah, you can say that, but he's also been injured too many times. Yeah, I'm saying it's like it's changed for Matic, Konate, Gomez.
Yeah.
Like he's had literally all three of them. In fact, he's had a good season with all three of them. He's had a good season with Matip, I think 18-19, 19-20, had it with Gomez.
And 21
Konate,
/ 22 as well.
Yeah, a bit of 21-22.
But actually, but Konate actually came in second half of the season. Because he started in the Madrid fight. No. Like as in, like he came into the.
Yeah. Sorry, exactly. But then you know what I mean. He's had good points with all of these guys. So then I'm just like, yeah, that tells you that he's good, but it doesn't tell you about the rest of the guys. You feel me? Unfortunately, and again, it is what it is. But back to my point is that at times I just feel like with him, I don't know if it's just because you're so good at what you're doing. Maybe sometimes you just lose a bit of concentration in terms of, I know what I need to do. I know where I need to be. I trust the guys next to me, i.e. Kwanzaa, Konate, Gomez, Trent, Robbo, Simicast, Bradley, whoever. I trust them enough to be on not the same wavelength, but on a similar kind of wave. So when it does come to the line, like, what the hell is this line right here? Like, honestly, what is that? Like, regardless of what we're going to say about Kwanzaa, why is your line like this? Like, I don't even understand. Like, surely you had to have had a conversation with him at some point during this half to say, broski, you keep dropping deep. The line's not even a line anyway, but cool. That's obviously that's because of the positionings, obviously, of the players, right? No problem. But when you've got one player in that whole back line who is completely away from everybody else, surely there has to be a conversation. And this isn't the first time.
We don't even play like that because if there's going to be someone that's deeper, because they switched to a 3, it'll be Ruben Diaz, but it wouldn't even be that deep.
No, not like this. This looks like what when you look at like if I was to show you the average positioning, I'll see if I can get it up. But if I show you the average positioning of the rest of the team, this looks like when Salah's the furthest forward for our attack, and then everyone else is in this like. This is really the 4-3-3. So Salah's number 78, maybe Jota's number 4, and Diaz is. You know what I mean? It looks like the attack as opposed to looking like our defense. Where I'm like,
Like where
bro.
Salah's not defending and he's just up forward.
He's just he's just forward. He's doing his literally he's doing his own thing. He ain't coming back to help everybody. Boom, bam, bim, kind of thing. Let me see if I can find. So okay, this is Brentford's team. This is Brentford's team right here. Yeah. It doesn't. I'm not saying it has to be in some perfect line, by the way, but you can tell the difference between this and this. Like, are you serious? Like, look at that back line right there. And I think it's 30, 22, 5, and 20, I believe. Yeah, that's the 4 right there. That for me is what I would expect to see. That's what I want to see. But with Liverpool, it's this. I'm just like, what are you lot even doing? Like, I don't even understand that. And then the reason why I'm pinpointing Virgil van Dijk is because you are the leader at the back there. I see this more often than I ever see anything like this. Now, I know context, I know that's what everyone's favorite word. Context, the way that Brentford play is different than the way that Liverpool play. Totally understand that. But when I'm just talking at times, again, I'm not saying it needs to be as, would I say, somewhat perfect like this. Not saying that at all. But I definitely have a massive issue with this because I see this too much. And by the way, it's not always Konza. It is sometimes Virgil van Dijk. So it just happened to be Konza this time. But sorry, go on, Harris.
Because if you say you play a high line, if this is in possession, then it's a bit of a problem because at one, you got Virgil who's got to keep everyone in line, and then 2, that's not a high line. That's someone dropping a couple of yards. But then again, this could be out of possession or in possession. It's not really one or the other. It's just average positioning. So if it's average positioning, then I think it's a problem as well because if you go back to the Brentford one, that's average positioning.
Yeah, this is all average.
And the thing is, Brentford do play a high line when they attack. Because if you go back to last season's game, actually both games, the amount of transitions we was able to have against Brentford in both games was actually quite surprising. And I mean, not really because they play a high line, but I would say both games was like a basketball match. It wasn't a case where like it's Man City, because I remember the City game against them last season where Brentford were just camped in their box. There wasn't as many transitions. But against Liverpool, there's going to be a lot of transitions, and they did play a high line, which does come with high risk, high reward when you play the high press and you play a high line. It's high risk, high reward. So I would like to see something more like this with them more in line. It doesn't need to look exactly like that, as you said, but it just needs to look more like a high line. Because Virgil's done many interviews where he's mentioned high line and everything. About what it's like to play in a high line. But in a match, we're seeing this.
Broski. Bro, sometimes I think to myself, I feel like Liverpool were but to be fair,
I think we're a bit dupes. I think our players are a bit dupes. Like they will say stuff like, this is how we play.
What I will say, and obviously we're going to get on to predicted lineups because it fits into that as well, right? Slot, I heard, again, this is all snippets because the full interview I think doesn't come out until tomorrow on Sky Sports. But I heard the snippets of what Slot was saying, and I think Carragher asked him about the differences in style of play. And one of the main things he spoke about, and this we'll talk about in terms of like midfielders more so and attackers, but it's to the whole team. We're so accustomed to playing that dead football that we was playing before, which is get the ball forward. That's it. There's no nuance to it. There's no football. There's get the ball, pop it forward. That's it. I need the ball as forward, as quickly, and as humanly possible. Yeah, Jurgen will tell everybody, I want a possession here and that. But these times I'm seeing Trent doing Hail Marys. I'm seeing Van Dijk, smashing the ball out wide to Salah and that, because we want to get the ball as fast forward as possible. Man's not trying to take care of the ball at all. We want to turn the game almost into a basketball game. But you can see that from what Slot was saying again the small snippet that I saw. But I think he said this before during preseason. Take care of the fucking football, my bro. Do you know what I'm saying? Take care of the damn ball.
Yes.
Do you get what I'm trying to say? Like, take a bit more care of it in and out of, or in possession. Like,
you know what? You say that. You see the Ipswich game. The amount of times Trent was hoofing the ball. I think he had about 14 long passes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, 14 out of 5 apparently. And
5 out of
of
14.
course Virgil with the long passing as well. This is the same thing I saw with Klopp. Like I'm out here seeing opportunities come with Trent going long,
Mm.
and that is just not slot in it. So in that game, I'm thinking, is this actually slot ball? Like the build up may be slot. Um, some of the pattern of some of the patterns of play may be slot. Like what there was one opportunity I remember where Trent scattered over the bar, but it was actually a good little pattern of play. Um, but it's kind of like, is there still a bit of Klopp in there? Is it like 50? No. Let's say is it 60% slot but 40% Klopp still?
Yeah, but to be fair, that's understandable. Like I'm not
Yeah,
gonna be
it is.
mad
It
at
is.
that
Yeah,
because
we
my man
we
just
can't
can't.
just expect everything
Yeah,
just to iron out. But I do think we will see Trent keep going long because I just think that's just something that he likes to do.
yeah.
That he's going to see Diaz run in and say, yeah, I'm long passing this, um, instead of just keeping the ball on the ground, because that's something Liverpool's always done. Is at times we will need to hoof the ball to get it to Salah or Diaz, or even when Mane was there, we did see a lot of that.
No, it's true, man. It's true. Listen, man. It's obviously listen. I understand. I'm not saying that. Yeah, I need to see a full 360 from the team. Like, yeah, I mean, in terms of yeah, we were gone from Klopp, and then all of a sudden, yeah, I mean, we're not Klopp anymore. That's going to take time. So I understand it, but that's something I did see quite a lot. Um, in that game actually was the way that we were playing at times. It did remind me of Klopp's football, and it almost felt like we reverted a bit back to type. Hence why I don't know. Like obviously I'm not the manager, so I have no idea. I know he liked the second half, but I think overall as a game, yeah, I mean, like I don't know. I feel like you'd look at that one and be like, okay, yeah. Do you know what I mean? Like you just sometimes think to yourself, got the win, got the clean sheet. That's the only real positives kind of thing. Outside of that, there seems to be a lot more improvement to see his style. Whatever his style looks like in its final form, he still wants to. Yeah, I mean, there's still, but that's totally understandable. So I'm not going to crash it. So so much in terms of the style because we can see what it does look like at this moment. In time. But this is my predicted 11. Oh, sorry, no. Let me take that back because I keep saying my predicted 11. This is the 11 I would have gone with for the game against Brentford. So you can see obviously changes from the last game because Kwanzaa, I believe he's got that knock. So I don't know if he's going to be fit. Something tells me he ain't going to start. So Kanate will just come in. I think that's for everybody. Rest of the team is all the same, bar the left back situation where I've gone with Simicast. I do think that, again, listen, you already know I would love an upgrade on Simicast if we can get one. But I don't know if the club are realistically going to do that. But I do think that he suits the style a lot better. I wasn't really happy with Robertson's performance. I thought he played quite poorly. I felt like in build-up, we couldn't really build up from that left-hand side with
Just so uncomfortable.
Robertson. It's so uncomfortable, bro. Like, and the problem with him is that, listen, I'm left-footed too. So I know what it feels like to only be able to use really one foot. But I don't even feel like he can use his right foot, but he just doesn't seem comfortable with it at any given moment in time. So
It seems forced. Like he has to swing his foot. Like it's not like on
instead
your,
of natural
like
kind of
you know how like Salah may shoot with his right foot where he's just swinging it for the sake of it without any technique. It's like that with Robertson. But like with how we were playing up from the back, he just looked so uncomfortable on the ball. And like, if you look at like someone like an Eight Nori, I feel like he would look much more comfortable on the ball, or even like a Calafiori, because I think he could play in a system like this where he's required to play up from the back because he can keep the ball. Calafiori, and if you look at someone like Ake, who I speak of very highly, even a Levi Colville as well, because he can play out from the back. He can break lines very well. That's not Robertson's game. If it was Klopp and he started, he would look better in my opinion. Whether that's on the ball because he's in positions where he's needed to be good. on the ball in the Klopp system. Basically, in a slot system, you need to be good everywhere on the ball on the pitch, whether that's in the back, especially at the back. Not so much the front line, like for example, as a striker, but I'll say the wingers, definitely the midfielders and the centre backs.
No, it's you see the centre backs that you just named here, especially Nathan Ake. Like I like Ake a lot. I think Ake is a solid player, bro. Like
Put in a
him,
60 million bid.
Akanji. We're not getting him, bro. So you see, like that's a player that you don't sell. Like there isn't enough money to probably be able to even sell him. But yeah, him, Akanji. Big up to Jerry said, did you see what our fullbacks were doing in the game? That goes on to the point I was just about to make now. You see with those guys, because in the game against Ipswich, the fullbacks were quite narrow. At times anyway, they were quite narrow, especially in our build-up play. And again, that's why I felt like in the second half, I felt like we was trying to play a little bit more wider. But I think again, Slot spoke about the fullbacks. Just trying to remember, in terms of why they build up in that kind of way. Because I think Jamie Carragher, I didn't watch it, but Jamie Carragher did something on Sky about Liverpool's build-up play, and he said obviously it's really just about if the fullbacks are so wide, bro, the ball's got to travel quite a bit to get there. Like it's going to take a minute before we get the ball from point A to point B. If they're a bit closer, it allows to be able to build up. We also know that he likes to build up through the middle, isolate players like a Mo Salah or a Luis Diaz, potentially whoever it is on that side, so that if we do need an out ball, you've got your out ball now, and then we can kind of play and blah blah blah. And yeah, this is what I'm saying. They were running behind. For me, Trent not so much, because when Trent is in a central defensive kind of position, he can get his head up and play a ball, play a pass. He can kind of do that especially if he's got time to be able to do so. But Robbo, nah, I don't want to see all of that. When I saw Robbo run behind, the thing is, maybe because the way Robbo did it, it's just the way he did it. It didn't look too well. So maybe with time and practice, that might change. But the one that I remember him, Robbo, doing it, running behind Virgil van Dijk, made zero sense to the actual move. That was the bit that annoyed me, because him doing so, you didn't need to do that. It would have been quicker for you to have just passed the ball to that area, because all he did was move that way. And then obviously Virgil pulls out a little bit to like the left-hand side, or like left back, or whatever you want to call it, left centre back area. You've still got Ali there, and you've then got, was it Kanate? Yeah, you got, I think it was that first or second half. I think it was that was the first half, or I think that was the second half. But you got the other centre back, I think it was Kanate, next to him. So now you've got this like Kwanzaa. So now you've got this congestion like in this one area, and if that ball gets lost, or because you haven't got much space because of the way that Ipswich are pressing, which by the way, Slot said he didn't know that they were going to press like that. He thought they were going to press another way. But because that is now happening, we're now in a situation where it's like, brother, if you don't pass that ball accurately and perfectly into whoever it is you're trying to get it into, bro, they're coming onto us like no man's business, which is what they were doing, which is pressing the hell out of Liverpool. Hence why they were first in everything. Duels, pressing, sprints, all that. They were first. They were first because they were just getting in front of us all the damn time. But when you're doing dumb stuff like that, again, a ball can travel quicker than a player. So, bro, pass the ball. Don't dribble with it in an area that we don't need you to dribble. I'm not saying don't do the running behind the centre-back thing if that's what Slot has told you to do. But you didn't need to dribble. That was the bit that just confused me. I was like, why are you dribbling? Like, it makes no... Like, you didn't gain any yardage by doing so. But it is what it is, obviously, with that. That's why... By the way, it's why I've chosen to go with Tsimikas in that left back spot. But what about yourself? Obviously, the rest of the teams there is the same team. What about you, man? What changes would you make? Obviously, Kwanzaa is injured anyway.
Not many. I'm just thinking, should Gakpo come into the team, do you think? For left wing?
Maybe. Yeah, maybe. I don't...
I feel like his...
That could be
I don't know. I just think... With how Diaz is, I'm not too sure 100% about him. I don't think it should be like a thing where Diaz didn't do too well against Ipswich. I think he was alright. I think he was a 6 out of 10. Nothing too special. But should Gakpo come into the team for perhaps? I'm not too sure. I'm not
against
sure
it, by the
who
way.
would
If you
start.
feel Gakpo, like if your team, yeah, I mean, if you feel Gakpo should start the game, then Gakpo. I wouldn't mind it. Like, I'm not going to be mad if you told me that Gakpo was starting ahead of Luis Diaz. Do you get what I'm trying to say? Like, I don't think that's going to be. Although we saw Gakpo play in the game, I think he played number 9 though.
He played up front, and that says a lot when you got Nunes on the bench.
Listen, I'm trying not to speak on my man
said,
as much this season. Like, I'm trying to just leave him alone.
Is Enzo in the chat?
No. I just said
okay.
I don't want to. I just don't want to speak on him unless I have to. Then I will. But
we don't want to upset the judge. We don't.
Yeah. You don't want to upset the judge, and it's just you know, like what I don't want is man's not doing anything anyway. So I can't crash on him for not playing. Ultimately, if you're not playing, you're not playing. You know what I mean? I can't.
Because in the next case, he might do a bit of bias for Kwasi. So
yeah, that's what I'm saying, bro. You got to keep the judge sweet sometimes. You know what I mean? You can't just be chatting rap. But nah, like what you're saying is facts. Though. Look, he didn't start the game, no problem. Diogo Jota, I think everyone was happy with that.
Oh,
then he didn't even come on, in the game. So
he has to start. But I have heard a rumor that apparently Nunes could start.
Okay, fair. That's an interesting one. I would be interested to know. Obviously, it's the early part of the season, so I don't think you will see Liverpool's best team until after the first international break, barring no injuries. I think that's when, because obviously that's when like there's games, kind of thing for a bit of period.
I think
of time.
Slot will know. Yeah, he'll definitely know his best 11 then.
Yes,
because he's still trying to find out who's going to fit where. Like we could see Trent in midfield, let's say, in the second half of the season, for example, or potentially even before that, because Slot hasn't worked out his best team. He could say, Trent, you're going to be my second phase midfielder for when we break out of possession. I mean, yeah, from when we break up playing from the back, and he could play really well there next to Gravenberch. I don't want to see it, but anything could happen.
No, it's true. Listen, I don't want to see it either. But right now, I'm just trying to what type of it's too early. I can't call it. Do you know what I'm saying? I can't really call it either way. To be honest with you, that's the only thing.
You see that what do you call it? That super is it a super chat or is it just it's not a super chat in it?
No.
By Alexander, he's not a dangerous winger, but he is a threat and he is effective. Like if you look at PSV Gakpo, I know that's in the Eredivisie. He's not really known for taking on his man, but he is effective. Like if you look at his assists, it is by going 1v1 with the fullback cutting in and getting the ball into the box. Diaz is a dangerous winger, but am I looking at him and saying, okay, he's going to score today? No.
I guess, you know what it is? And by the way, none of these two players I'm about to say are of the same level of the two players I'm going to mention. You see with like Hazard and Salah is way more effective than Hazard. But when you look at the way that they play, you're probably going to be more, I don't know, pace. Yeah, I was going to say Hazard, but listen, maybe it's equal. Maybe it might be equal because pace is a worrying thing. I know for you defenders, like you man don't like pace and that for some weird reason.
I don't want to be coming up wide to
to some speed emergence kind of thing. But in general,
Virgil don't like it. Yeah,
no, but he can. Nobody likes to run. I don't know why people act like running is something that nobody act like. Human instinct isn't to want to run. It's more out of necessity that you would run. Do you get what I'm trying to say? But like, anyways, in football, let's take it back there. In football terms, when I think about it, it's almost like those two. When you look at someone like Salah, he's just more effective with his style of play. When you look, and not to say Hazard hasn't been effective, like a Luis Diaz has been effective, but their type of style of play is they can take on their man 1v1 in that thing, which could kill man in any situation. you get what I'm trying to say? Only problem is they might not get you the goals and assists as much as, say, the Salahs, kind of, for example. So when you're looking at it, I'm like, Gakpo probably will get you more goals with his style of play than Luis Diaz. But depending on what you're looking for in that specific game, do you want someone who's going to be able to beat the man 1v1 and, you know what I mean, in this kind of instance? Cool, then maybe Diaz might be the one. Do you want someone, we just need effectiveness today. I don't care about you beating your man and all, whatever. I just need, can you get me the goal? Can you cut in and score? Because Diaz cannot do that consistently.
He's done it before, but he hasn't.
And this is it. He's done it once in a blue moon and stuff like that.
Crystal Palace.
Thank you. Yeah, exactly. Thank you, Jay. You just said it here. Depends what you want. Diaz creates havoc and space with other players. I hate this idea. Every forward needs end products every game. For instance, Matoma don't get bare goals, but affects the game. Other players don't, but get more goals. Exactly. This is what I'm saying. As you said, not correctly, but rightly so. What do you want? Sorry, I keep saying, what do you want? What does Slot want? Because I think that's the most important thing out of anything. Because I can put my bias into it, but if Slot says I need a Luis Diaz type of winger, then he needs a Luis Diaz type of winger. At the end of the day, I can't fight that. The only way I can fight that is if just things don't work out. Then I can say, boom. Do you get what I'm trying to say? So, yeah, man, it really just comes down to effectively what's going to work. And I think also in different games, I think different players are going to work as well. Like what works against Ipswich might not work against City. Maybe you need Gakpo against City. Maybe that's something that we need to have. Maybe because of the way that Kyle Walker plays, for example.
I think Diaz is the perfect one for City. I've always said that. Like
maybe, but at the same time, maybe not. Maybe it's Gakpo. Like I haven't seen Gakpo, Jota, and Salah up against City. Maybe that might potentially work because of the threat of when he cuts inside, he's more likely to score as opposed to Diaz isn't. So maybe again, this is what I'm saying. I don't know, because I do think that every player is going to be different for different types of games. I.e., Doku plays one week, misses out the next week potentially, or not misses out, but he'll be on the bench the following week. Like you've got to be able to like. I'm not saying you need to change up all the time, but you need to. Obviously, this comes with.
You need to know when is the
when is the right time. Like you get what I'm trying to say. So it is a bit mad. Salah.
I have a question though.
Go on.
So this is a question for you and Jerry. Who would you guys rather face, Salah or Hazard? For me, I'd rather face Salah based on his style of play. Like you can lock him down for a game, but he might end up scoring. So I'd rather that than getting cooked the whole game by an Eden Hazard, who is someone that's not easy to shrug off the ball. It's the same thing for Salah, but I think with Hazard, it's pure dribbling, like kind of Messi like things more than Salah, where you can lock him down for a whole game, but with Hazard, it's more of a harder job.
Yeah, I'll probably say that. Yeah, I agree with that. I think whenever I've played left back before, I'm trying to think. I guess it could depend on the day though, because there will be some days when you come up against a guy who's not like Hazard isn't fast like that. So if I was to come up against him, for example, would I be so shook to come up against him if he hasn't got the pace? If I know, okay, I'm faster than him, then all it really is, as you say, is the dribbling side of it.
Yeah.
I might be able to lock that down a bit easier, potentially. I'm just thinking about the way I would play. Because Salah, I feel like you ain't getting the ball off of him anyway. When he turns his back on you, you ain't getting the ball because he's way too strong. Do you get what I'm trying to say? Like, he's mad strong. I've seen him bully basically every player he's ever come up against. So you've got that side. Okay, I can't get a ball off this brother. On top of that, he's mad fast. So it might get techie where I can get caught out between myself and the centre-back at times. Good question, but I don't know. I might lean more towards Hazard, though. I might lean more towards Hazard and say,
to face it.
You know what? Yeah, I think I'd much rather face a Hazard than I would I think
Salah, because I think I look at Salah now and I've seen certain defenders like.
But I'm not thinking about him
Who
now.
is
I'm
it?
thinking about him in his prime. I'm thinking
Oh,
both
in his
players in their
prime.
prime. Yeah, both players in
Oh,
their prime. Because obviously Hazard isn't playing, so I can't think of Hazard now. So
that's a. I, I, um, I was gonna say, 2019 Hazard. I'll say I'm thinking about, or like a 2019 Salah, or like a 2022 Salah. That's what I'm thinking. But if we're talking about primes, that's a hard one.
but yeah,
I
it's the
might
only
just lean.
you know why? Because the only
I just
fair
might
way
lean
I
to
can
Hazard.
yeah,
I might
it's
just
the
lean to
only
Hazard
fair
because of
way to do it because I can't because Hazard isn't playing, so I can't say oh yeah like what Salah is now in comparison. I have to say all right, both in their prime. Who would I rather face? I probably say Hazard. I probably say I'd rather face Hazard because you can't like you see that type of pace that my man had, bro. You might be able to lock it down some games. I'm not saying you can't, and that's fair.
Shaw's done
But
it. Yeah.
the only difference is that Hazard doesn't stay in one position. So the reality is when Hazard is even having mad games, he could be everywhere. Salah stays in one spot. So to be able to lock it down, I think it would be easier because you only have to worry about he's only going to be in these positions. That's it. Like point A, point B. Hazard, I don't know if he's going to be on the right wing, left wing, through the middle, dropping
He
deep,
pops
picking up
up
the ball.
anywhere.
Exactly. So for me, it'll be tricky. I'll be like, nah, you know what? I'll lean more if they were to just stay, obviously, thing. I would lean more towards let me just come up against Hazard because he might not even be here for half the time anyway, and he might be cooking up my man on the other side. So I might even be left scot free. But Salah, I know, okay, cool. This brother, that pace, and again, I'm only talking about prime. That pace was disgusting. Like it was disgusting. Like serious pace on the wings, boy. And then on top of that, he would turn into Messi for a game sometimes, like where man just doing crazy dribbles and stuff like this. So
How would
yeah, I think I'll lean more towards
How would
towards
you
the
say
Hazard.
that your style of play is for a winger? Because you say you're left-footed. Like, would
Back
you
in the
say like
day, I
your
would say
part
more. Back in the day, I would have said
Robbins?
probably more. I'd probably say more like a Salah.
Is it? So
Selfish, yeah, selfish. I was mad
you can't
quick.
beat your man then, yeah?
What Salah in his prime?
In his prime.
Bro, Salah in his prime,
Okay.
bro. He was beating everyone.
Yeah. Okay.
But yeah,
Because I keep thinking about this Salah.
but his yeah, fast, very one-footed. You definitely ain't getting the ball off me. I'm definitely not running back to help. I tell you for free. So that right back, you better pray that you've got Jordan Henderson next to you because I ain't coming back to defend. Yeah. I'd say more of that. Now, if I was to look at it though, I would have to say I'd have to probably choose like another player in another position because now I really don't want to run. Like to me, I feel like running is actually such a pointless exercise at times. I feel like people run to make it almost seem like it's an illusion of doing something, whereas I know the smartest players and the best players I've ever seen barely running games,
Kyle
like
Walker loves to
barely.
run. Van der Ven
Yeah, and
loves
these are
to
like
run. But
dumb
the thing is,
IQ players. Like,
I don't even think them man are even smart like that because they're in a position where like they have to they have to be last ditch. But if you look at
yeah,
like how Van der Ven plays in a high line, half the time the striker's through on goal.
yeah,
And if you put Virgil in that position, he plays in the high line as well. Probably less protected Van der Ven is because he's got a doggy
and Van der
a
Ven is mad
doggy
fast.
and Pedro Porro who come inside, and then you've got Madison who's popping up everywhere. So it's literally a back two. But if you see like if Virgil was to play in that position, I feel like he would position himself a lot better than how Van der Ven does.
Potentially,
And of
yeah.
course, Van der Ven's still young. He's still young. He has time to develop. But it's like, do you have a brain cell at times? Like, do you even know what you're doing as a defender when you're so when you're not positioning yourself great? And even Kyle Walker's another one where he has to use his pace almost every time in every game. Then you
Yeah,
got the commentator
and that
saying,
that bugs me at times when players do that, is because then I'm like, yeah, you're just not using your brain enough, like, and again, obviously, by the way, I'm talking about players that, like, when I say the players who are so smart that they don't need to run, obviously we're talking about like the elite players, like those are the ones that I rate the most. Cruz,
but he
but
doesn't need to run.
I'd say more Javi and Iniestas. Those guys are
Oh.
like, they didn't need to run. Like you don't see them doing lung. But by the way, and again, because I know people take things so literal.
Actually,
I know these people.
Yeah,
They
Thiago at Bayern.
Yeah. Like yeah. He was probably at Bayern. I was trying to think, but I was like, nah, I was thinking of Liverpool. And nah, I didn't really see that. But at Bayern, yeah, he was that kind of player. Like these kind of guys, like if I was looking at the game now as how I play it anyway, like I said, now it is more about, because I don't have the pace that I did, back, once upon a time. So now it's more about understanding, like, you just need to be in the right positions, bro. The ball will literally come to you. Like, and it's crazy when I've done that, because you actually sit there and think, this is so mad. Like, I walked into this position, or I did a little jog to get into this position as an example. But because I made that move, now the ball's here. Whereas all I can hear is next to man. Like, you know what I mean? Because bare people are just running out of breath and all this kind of stuff. And I'm thinking, like, rotted, like, you did all of that. And funnily enough, goes back to what Slot was, I heard Slot talking about, in terms of being so, like, the fullbacks being so far wide that, that ball's got to take time to travel. It's like, bro, sometimes you can just be close and use your brain, bro. Like, you don't have to be all the way in Wonderland to get the ball. Like, you can just be here and we can just pop it around here, and then you move through that way. You stop all of this needless running, because we all know, when we've seen it under Klopp, when the players have done all of this Hail Mary runs forward, what happens? Gaps. Players running through, teams running through all the time. But these men are so tired from doing the stupidness to get forward. Oh, now we're taking time to get the ball back. And I've seen, and again, this is why I say that I've always preferred the Manchester City style when I talk about it, and even the way that they press. Liverpool's way obviously was just different, and it worked to a certain degree, right? But I always preferred the controlled press, because I've seen Barcelona, they pressed under Pep Guardiola, but it wasn't this kind of messy style in the way. Yeah, it was just so controlled. Like
it was pressing in a way where you're not running about all like everywhere. If you look at, let's go back to the Arsenal game where we lost 3-1. They pressed us. It wasn't headless chicken pressing. It was more zonal pressing. So that if McAllister gets onto the ball, Rice is onto you. Yeah, and it may force you back. You may even lose the ball. You might bug out. It's more controlled and more refined pressing, rather than the headless chicken one where they're just running at you. Then you're leaving enough gaps in behind. So, like, you could get played around. I'm pretty sure many times that Klopp's Liverpool midfielders, let's say, have been played around. Yeah, so, like, let's say someone like Modric, if you go back to the final against Real Madrid, the amount of times that in the second half especially, we got played around by Modric, because we were trying to press him, and then he would just be able to do 2-touch, 1-touch around us, and then move into another position to get the ball. And that actually resulted in a goal conceded, didn't it? Where Robertson tried to press Modric, played around him, got into Valverde, conceded.
This is why, again, but I don't want to talk too much about back then, because obviously that was just back then. But it's just more me explaining, like, why I do kind of also like the way that Slot wants to do things moving forward, because I'm just like, yeah, just control, bro. Like, it doesn't have to be, you know what I mean? And also I feel like it then doesn't require like highest level of physicality within the team, where that's what's necessarily winning us the game, so to speak. I'm like, that's good for a very short period of time, as we saw on the clock. But Jesus Christ, you come out of that 2 years, man are dead. Fabinho dead on their feet. Henderson, Milner's, Wijnaldum, all these guys, now they're just kind of dead on their feet. And you're just like, bro, it's because you've maxed them out at this point in time. Like, now look at them. Now you're asking these guys to play football. You've seen the results. You know what I mean? It didn't look too great. Boy, ask Liverpool start kicking ball a little bit under Jurgen Klopp last season. You finish third. The season before that, Liverpool just coming out of like that whole Klopp, everyone being tired and stuff like that, and because of obviously the physical decline, look what happened. We finished fifth. Yeah, I'm trying to say he's gone from fifth to trying to kick ball. You're still finishing third. So I'm just like, yes, because these guys are accustomed to this. I need now to go full circle and get to a point where you can mix and blend, because there are good parts of Klopp's football that I like that you can keep within Slot's kind of style of play. But that will come. That will obviously come in the future, man. But obviously, we'll wrap it up in a sec. What's your score prediction? And everybody's in the chat, man. Let me know what your prediction for the game is. Yeah, man. What's your prediction and goal scorers as well?
I want to keep a clean sheet, but the thought of seeing like one of our left backs against Mbomo, it doesn't excite me. Like whether that's Robertson or Tsimikas, who would I rather see? I don't know. Because I don't even think Robertson is the same defensively, because he's lost the other pace. I just think that whole left-hand side that we have is against Mbomo. I'm not too sure, because I've seen Virgil struggle against him. If you go back to 2 seasons ago, the game where we lost 3-1 to Brentford, Virgil got dusted by Mbomo. I remember that. It was not nice to see. Then in the second game, Brentford had a goal disallowed from Mbomo again, dusting Virgil in a foot race. And then it was good hold-up play by Tony. Then he gave it to Mbomo, dusted Virgil, and then scored. Then last season, he didn't play in the second game in Mbomo, but in the first game, Virgil did deal with him quite well, to be fair. So if we can deal with the threats of Brentford, then I will say 3-1. If they're having a good game, Alisson, you have to be on it tomorrow. If they're having a good game, because I'm not looking forward to this game. Like, I'm not too confident to the point where I'm saying, "Oh, we're going to beat them up 3-0, 4-0, 5-0." No, we have to be clinical. We have to create our chances. We need to play our own football, but we need to be wary of the threats. We can't be arrogant and just and not keep an eye on them, because they are actually good players. And I think Mbomo is someone who I think we could be in for, because if you look at his age, his profile, pace, he's a goal threat. He can assist as well. He is a good player, so we need to watch out for him.
You see, in regards to like Liverpool, when we're talking about players that we could potentially be in for and stuff, I'll keep it a buck. The players you think we're in for, we're never in for. The players you think we should buy, they're not the players we ever buy. So I've even just given up with all of that stuff. There's no. I think the only one I've got right in recent times is Szoboszlai. I said just before we signed him, I said we should sign like Szoboszlai as a player I would like for Liverpool, and I think he would work. Blah blah blah, and we signed him, although it just didn't work in the way that I thought it would. And that's it. I can't remember any other one that I've looked at. There's no signing that we've signed outside of that where I've said sign this brother because he'll do this for us. None of them. So I've always picked other players, and lo and behold, we've got these players. So yeah, man, it's a bit of a funny one, man. I'll be real, it's a bit of a funny one, but we'll have to wait and see. But in regards to my prediction, you said 3-1. I'll go
Anfield, I'm confident.
2-1.
Same prediction as Ipswich. I remember.
Yeah. I'll go 2-1. I'll go 2-1.
Do you think we score first?
No, I think Brentford will score first.
Set piece. I can see a set piece or something. Pinnock.
Nah, I don't even think it will even be a set piece. I don't even think it'll be a set piece. I think they'll just cut us open at the back, and it'll just be a ball through. Wissel and Bemo will just finish, and it will just be one of those like where you're like, the timeline will just melt down like completely. But we will then just pick it up a gear kind of thing, and then you'll start seeing us playing like good football. Yeah. Literally, I think it'll be exactly like that. I think it'll just be exactly like that. So yeah, I'll go 2-1 for now. Because I still think that finishing wise, we're not that good. we definitely can't get up on
the set pieces are to watch out. I don't want to see us giving up.
They're to watch out, but I wonder
silly fouls.
Yeah, they are to watch. I'd have to check, and maybe after the game, I'll see if I can find it anyway.
Yeah.
I'd love to see how many goals they actually get from this, because they are a threat, but do they score from these things? Is my kind of thing. Like
I'm just getting
like
PTSD from the game 2 seasons ago, because the amount of times we were getting absolutely beaten up on set
but
pieces.
that's a long time ago. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. But it's something that I pay attention to. I'm not going to look at them and say, "Oh, we don't need to watch out for set pieces anymore."
Oh no!
Still,
of course. They're it's like they're a threat, but it reminds me of. It's like when people tell me, Trent's good at free kicks, or
how many free kicks does he score? Because he doesn't.
Like how many free kicks does he score for me to say?
He has hit the wall a lot, like a lot.
A lot, bro. Like, and
we're not expecting him to bag every, but
no.
They could be in good positions. And even Virgil said in an interview with what's his name, Ben Foster, the goalkeeper. He said he would like him to be more consistent with his free kicks.
Yeah,
because every time that there could be a delivery into the box, or like even a corner, I've seen Virgil get vexed in the box. Yeah, like he would tilt his head up in the air in like disappointment at him for like a bad set piece. I've seen it many times because I go back and watch games on LFC TV Go, and these are small things I pay attention to. So Virgil definitely does think Trent should be more consistent on corners or free kicks or any kind of set piece.
Like, it's not as bad as this. Excuse me. It's not as bad as Ronaldo, because in my mind,
his one is
Ronaldo, like, you're not good at free kicks, bro. Like, I don't know why you keep taking them, but you're not good at them. So why do you continuously keep? Yeah, bro. Like, it's just silly now, but it is a point of when people. It's like, that's why I say with the Brentford thing, I'm like, you're right, 100%. I agree with you. Just watch out set pieces. These guys can be a bit of a threat. But then I don't know, by the way, people. So I'm not trying to speak from a place of. I'd have to check. Like I said, after the game, I'll see if I can find what their record is from set pieces last season. It might be good, and maybe that gives us a reason. But in my mind, I'm thinking, did they score from that many? Like, is it enough for me to be worried about, or is it just like in our minds because of the game, as you said 2 years ago, set pieces, blah blah blah? Are we just thinking more? You know what I mean? More so like that. But
yeah,
listen, man, we'll wait and see. Anyway, we'll wrap it up here. I just seen the time. I didn't realize I'd gone over. But it was a good chat, good conversation. Big up Harris, of course, for joining me.
Big up the chat. Smash the like button. Subscribe to G, because he's done a very good job.
Man,
with the channel.
Man, much love, guys. You heard what he said, man. Just smash the like button. That's all I'm asking. Just smash the like button. Yeah, I mean, there was over like 100 and odd people who have passed through this evening. So listen, man, smash that like button, please, for me. Tomorrow. I'll go. All right, I'll go live after the game. I'll go live after the game. Because Monday, I'm not gonna be around. So yeah, I'll be free tomorrow. But yeah, Monday I'm not gonna be around, and I can't really be asked to do it on the Tuesday either. In terms of the reaction of the game, so I'll go live straight after the match, and we can talk about it, chop it up, blah blah blah. As to the result and everything, and then whoever's about, just hop in, and then obviously we'll go from there, man. But guys, please enjoy the rest of your evening. It's only 9:30 now, so please make sure everyone's good. For those, as I said before, who are going to Carnival, please make sure you're safe. Please make sure you're good. Please make sure you're blessed. And again, if I do see you or you see me, bro, come over, say hi, man. Yeah, I'm trying to say I don't bite. I might be yacked, but I don't bite. So yeah, man, big up to your damn selves. And I'll catch you guys tomorrow. Peace.